And I want to start with two numbers that we heard this afternoon. The first one, 30,000. 30,000 victims of the massacre. And I want to relate the 30,000 with the 30,000 disappeared in my country, in Argentina, during the dictatorship. Despite that I started with numbers, these are not numbers. These are real people. They were fathers and mothers. They were daughters and sons. And let's start by a definition of enforced disappearance. Every single enforced disappearance is a state crime because it's carried out by state officials. We heard, and I use the number 30,000. But when we talk about enforced disappearances, the victims are many more. The victims are not only those who disappear. The victims are all of you relative of those who disappear. Because according to international law, according to the International Convention on Enforced Disappearance, a victim is not only the person who disappeared, but everybody else who suffered a harm due to a disappearance. So when we are talking about disappearances, we are talking to many more people than just those who disappear. And when we heard today about the right to truth, the prosecution of those responsible, that's not something that is given to you. That's a right that you have. It's the right to achieve justice. It's the right to have accountability.
When perpetrators of past atrocities are not held accountable for their actions, we are doomed to see history repeat itself. This is the situation we find ourselves in with regards to the Iranian government and its human rights abuses, many of which amount to international crimes. In 1988, political protests were curbed, with thousands of people executed for their political and religious beliefs. Only one of the perpetrators of these crimes has been held accountable for their actions. What it is a continuation of the targeting of those opposed to the authoritarian regime running the country that was seen in the 1980s, with the very same conduct being carried out. Indeed, it is history repeating itself. Obviously, the Iranian government is not going to hold itself accountable for atrocity crimes, including executions, torture, and enforced disappearance. This is especially the case as we know that some of those responsible for the 1988 crimes have since been promoted up the ranks to high government positions, including the current president, Ebrahim Raisi, who was a Death Commission member. For Raisi, he is a perpetrator of the killings in 1988, but he is now obviously also accountable for current crimes against humanity being perpetrated against protesters. With Raisi in power, it is clear that within Iran, there will not be justice for the victims. The international community thus needs to unequivocally support accountability processes to ensure justice for the victims and their families who have not been permitted to properly mourn their loved ones.
این که می‌بینیم امروز باقی مانده های ساواک و دستگاه سرکوب دیکتاتوری سلطنتی دوباره فیلشان هوای هندوستان را کرده، دقیقاً به این خاطر است که پرونده های سرکوب و شکنجه دستگاه مخوف ساواک برای نسل‌های بعد باز نشد. جنبش دادخواهی یکی از پایه‌های اصلی جنبش ضد دیکتاتوری است.
Later in various interviews, some of those in power admitted that those people were executed because of the fatwa or decree passed by highest authority to execute those who remained loyal to the Mujahideen. I want to pause here for a moment. You know, for me, this is one of the finest movements for people who believe in something so simple. I will not agree with you and I'm prepared to die. Can you think of this? It's an amazing fate of human effort to be able to do it. Please appreciate the conviction of their beliefs, their bravery and the courage of their conviction. And if you read history, from the Jacobin in France to the Russian Revolution, big people have fallen at this precise moment. But these 30,000 people, they remained steadfast and they were told, are you with us or with the Mujahideen? If you remain with the Mujahideen, you'll be dead. And they stayed loyal to their faith and their conviction. There cannot be a higher duty than that. I don't know whether I would be able to do the same in the circumstances. A chill, as I said, goes down my spine whenever I think about these people. I can only salute the brave and courageous people of Iran who gave up their life for an idea. And that's why I'm very glad that I've come to see this today. And what is that idea? It is an idea that one can have a belief different from those who rule in a society, and they can voice it without any reprisal.
Dear Madame Mariam Rajavi, what an honor for the women of the world to see you in this leadership position, a strong, intelligent, a woman of character, so thank you. The barbaric acts of today have concerning similarities with the 1988 massacre, which started with Ayatollah Khomeini's order in July of that year to execute an estimate of 30,000 people, political prisoners in Iranian jails. The 1988 massacre was carried out by current president of Iran, Ebrahim Raisi, one of the 4 members of the death committee for Tehran at that time. The lack of accountability for the perpetrators of 1988 massacre and of justice and recognition for the victims is directly linked to the institutional crimes committed today. Impunity is a crime by itself. A permanent or ongoing crime is constituted by an unlawful prolonged action without interruption in time. In Iran, this crime started in 1988, and it's not over. Moreover, unlike other crimes of human rights violations, the crime of enforced disappearance is not defined by a particular action, but as the continuous absence of documents and bodies, dead or alive, related to the victims.